So welcome to the What Makes Me Pick Up a Book tag. I was tagged to do this by Chloe over at Chloe Reads Books. I will link her video where she does this tag in the description below. You should go and check her out. She is fantastic. This tag was created by Charlotte over at Wonderfully Bookish, so I suggest you go and check her out as well. I would link her channel in the description below. She is also fantastic. So, the tag. There are 8 questions to answer, so let's just get started. Question number 1. Do you judge a book by its cover? Yes. I wish I could say no, but yes. It isn't going to be the reason I don't necessarily read a book, but usually it's the reason that I go to pick it up in the first place to see what kind of book it is and what it sounds like and whether I would like it. So if it's an interesting or attractive cover, then I am more likely to pick it up at all to look at, let alone to buy. If it's a book that I'm reading from the library though, or something that I'm wanting to read on ebook or an audiobook, then the cover doesn't make as much of a difference, because even though all of those things obviously have covers, it's not there on your shelf making your shelf look one way or the other. So I'm less inclined to care that much about what the cover looks like if I'm going in that way, if that makes sense. Question number 2 is still about the cover. So it says, focusing on the cover, what attracts you to pick it up in the first place? Colours that I really like. So yeah, colours that appeal to me, patterns and images that appeal to me. Foiling is something that I really like. Yeah, something eye-catching, I guess. So colourful, or specifically with colours I like, or foiling will attract my attention the most. Question number 3 is, do you read the synopsis first or prefer to go in without knowing anything about the book? Again, that really depends on the book, on the genre more specifically. So something like a thriller, I probably don't want to know as much as another type of book, because you want to be surprised in a thriller. But generally speaking, I will read the synopsis before I decide to buy a book or read a book. So yeah, I do read the synopsis. Question number 4 is, do you have any auto-buy authors? Authors whose books you will always buy even without knowing anything about them. Yes and no. I don't have auto-buy authors, I have auto-read authors. I have some authors whose work I will always read without knowing anything more about them, other than the fact that the author wrote them. But I wouldn't necessarily buy a book just because it's an author that I know I like. I would still read the synopsis and see whether I think I would like that particular book, but I'm more inclined to pick it up at all and read the synopsis if it's an author that I know that I like. So yes and no. Question 5. Are you more likely to pick up a book if it includes specific elements and themes? For example, LGBTQA+, mental health rep, disability rep, etc. No. I am trying to diversify what I read, so I'm definitely trying and diversify and read more books that have those particular themes or particular points of view. But no, I wouldn't necessarily buy a book because it had a particular theme or a particular point of view or a particular thing it was trying to say, any more than I would necessarily not buy a book because of those things as well. Number 6, do you ever read a book that has generally negative reviews just to form your own opinion of it? Yeah, I mean, it depends on how negative the reviews are. If I've not heard one good thing about it from anyone, then I'm probably not going to buy it. But I still might read it. I might borrow it from the library just to see what I think of it. So that's actually probably more likely. If I've heard nothing but bad things about it, I'm probably just as inclined to be curious about what I think of it as I am if I've heard nothing good things about it. But I'm less likely to buy it, but I'm still potentially going to read it. But if it's fairly polarizing, I would read, even though I've heard some bad reviews. So yes, I would, is the short answer to that question. Question 7, do you ever buy a book just because another booktuber or book blogger has reviewed it or talked about it a lot? Yes, definitely. I can think of at least 2 books that I have bought just because I have heard other people talk about them. In fact, one of the books that I bought in the last year or so, which I haven't read yet, is a book that pretty sure I only had one YouTuber talk about, and then I couldn't find where they talked about it when I went to haul it for you guys. So they don't have to talk about it a lot necessarily for me to read it. But yes, I definitely would do, and particularly if I hear a lot of different booktubers, who have different tastes saying they like it, because that to me suggests that it's got a wide appeal, so I'm probably more likely to read it. But people who I personally think I have similar tastes to, so I actually think I have similar tastes to Anne from Literary Diversions. I think I have similar tastes to Emma from Drinking by My Shelf. I don't think Emma and I have read that many books in common, but the books that we have read in common, I generally tend to agree with her opinion of them. I think I have similar tastes to Murphy Napier, but I think I have similar tastes to Faye from Mystery Date with a Book. Oddly enough, although I do a lot of buddy reading with him, I don't think I actually do have similar tastes to Connor, which actually makes it really fun to buddy read with him. But anyway, so if those people agree and they like a book, then I will definitely be more inclined to read it. But again, it really depends on the book and on how many people or who or what they've said, and etc. Question number 8, it says, is there anyone whose book recommendations you will generally always trust? So I just went through a bunch of different booktubers whose recommendations I would trust because I think I have similar tastes too. So there's quite a lot of other booktubers whose opinions I would definitely trust, even though I don't necessarily think that I have similar tastes. So Connor from Connor's Library Corner, Victoria from What Victoria Read, Simone from Me, Simone and I, Jean from Jean's Thought, and the list goes on. So booktubers are definitely good sources of information for me and good trustworthy sources of book recommendations. Generally speaking, my parents have similar tastes to me, so I would trust recommendations from them. I trust recommendations from Rowan. For the most part, I've enjoyed all of the books that he's suggested I read, so definitely trust him. I would trust recommendations from my friend Alison, who I'm buddy reading with at the moment, from my friends Max and Rachel, who I have buddy read in the past and who have introduced me to 2 of my favourite series of all time. My friend Richard, I would definitely trust his opinion. My friend Michelle, absolutely trust her opinion, and in fact you will have seen in various of the hauls that I've done recently that I will buy a book that she just shoves in my hands. So definitely trust Michelle. Yeah, there are probably many more people who I could name, but I will call it quits there. And that was the entirety of the tag. So all that's left now is to tag people. I'm going to tag a couple of different people, but I don't know whether the people I'm going to tag have done this tag or not. So obviously, if you have done the tag, please ignore the tag. If you are not tagged right now but you want to do the tag, please feel free. So the people that I'm going to tag, let me just check on their channels. So the first person is Helen from Helen's Book Haven. I will link all of these people in the description below. You should go and check them out. They are great. Helen is a relatively new booktuber, but I think she's doing a really great job. I did her Eurovision-a-thon readathon in April and May, and I had a really great time. So she's been around the Booktunet for a while, but relatively new to Booktube, so go and show her some love. So I tag her. I will tag Kaz from Cats and Camera. I love her videos. I think they're really fun and funny and definitely worth checking out. She always has a little word from her sponsors, which are her cats, which I think is adorable. So I tag Kaz, and I tag Amy from Amy Myers, who I actually have no idea whether she's even subscribed to this channel, but I will make sure she knows about it somehow. She is great. She has really interesting views on things, really interesting opinions, and yeah, I really enjoy her thoughts on books, and yeah, you should go and check her out as well and consider yourself tagged Amy. So that's the end of this video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.